Brace yourselves, America. The man who stands beside our so-called border czar, Kamala Harris, is now at the center of a shocking scandal. Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, is facing explosive allegations of physical assault against his ex-girlfriend. But here's the kicker. Just days ago, the left was praising him for reshaping masculinity. Tonight, we will rip the mask off this hypocrisy and expose the dark truth the mainstream media is desperately trying to bury. Now, check this out. Are you listening? While allegations swirl around Doug Emhoff, it's time to take control of your own masculinity. V-Shred has uncovered a shocking truth. A common healthy food is devastating men's testosterone levels. It's not junk food or sugar, but something you eat regularly. The food drains energy, crushes motivation, and weakens muscle. But here's the good news. Cutting it out could transform you. And V-Shred's clients who eliminated it are building muscle and feeling energized. You want to know what it is? Visit sculptnation.com/NNN or click below to watch V-Shred's revealing video. Don't let hidden threats undermine your manhood. Take charge of your health today. Now, Bill Mitchell weighed in. If this was Trump, the media would be frothing at the mouth, reporting it as breaking news 24/7, saying the walls are closing in. Because it's Doug Emhoff, they'll just ignore the story and call it misinformation. Kamala continues to claim they're redefining masculinity, but does this look like leadership or abuse? Kamala's husband, Doug Emhoff, accused of assaulting a woman in 2012. Second gentleman reportedly paid $80,000 in hush money to his former nanny. This is another story. As part of a non-disclosure agreement. He wasn't prosecuted, unlike Trump. Yeah, Doug Emhoff's got some issues. Rebecca asked a good question here. Wonder if he slapped around Kamala. Wonder if he's got physical with her. Doug Emhoff forcefully slapped ex-girlfriend for flirting with another man in a booze-fueled assault after a date to a star-studded gala. And here is Jen Psaki. Second gentleman Doug Emhoff accused of physically assaulting his ex-girlfriend days after MSNBC host Jen Psaki said Emhoff was reshaping masculinity.
The role you might play, important part, an interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny. I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the
important part, an interesting.
He's a soy boy. Megyn Kelly on the Daily Mail report that Emhoff beat his ex-wife. Interesting gesture there at the end with the hand in your face. This so-called always supportive woman actually smacked an ex-girlfriend.
This Jen Psaki clip that we showed you just a couple of days ago, and we mocked her for her ridiculous lapdog boot-licking performance when she had this guy, knowing he had cheated on his first wife before Kamala Harris with his child's nanny. Look, people have marital problems and they make bad decisions when they're married to people that they don't love. All right? However, banging your child's nanny and impregnating her is in a special league of its own. Whatever. He got through the marriage. He managed to somehow remain friends with that first wife, and he married Kamala. I think most of us would have left it alone if he hadn't then paraded himself out there and let the media parade himself out there like he was the ideal husband on steroids. Like he is the new version of what it means to be a real man and eschews toxic masculinity and should really be the role model for my boys and yours. F that. I want my boys to be like my husband, who did not bang the nanny nor impregnate another woman while married to me or ever. It's insane that they tried to sell us this lie. That was the context in which we raised, before I get to today's news, the following Jen Psaki clip where she interviewed the current second gentleman, the man who could be our first gentleman in a few months, on, I think it was Sunday. Watch.
An interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny. I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the right thing to do. You know, support women. When we lift up women, we support women, whether it's pay equity, childcare, family leave, and all these issues that, you know, this post-Dobbs hellscape. Women should not be less than.
There's a pop culture phrase, wife guy, which you've kind of been known as. Are you familiar with this?
I've heard about it.
As called a wife guy, a proud wife guy. How do you feel about that?
Well, if I do something annoying to Kamala and she gets upset, I'll just show her that article.
Right.
Yeah, show her the article.
Oh, it's an interesting gesture there at the end with the hand in your face, because that's the news today, that this so-called always supporter of women actually smacked an ex-girlfriend in the face. Either a smack or a punch. It was unclear, according to the Daily Mail's exclusive reporting, that this super guy who's redefined toxic masculinity actually beat a woman that he was dating prior to Kamala. The Daily Mail reports that he did not respond to requests for comment on the article. What does that mean? There's not even going to be a denial? I guess they'll get around to it. It's just an allegation right now, but let me tell you, take some time today to read that Daily Mail report, because it's incredibly detailed. Incredibly, with several friends of the very successful attorney that he was dating, his alleged victim, going to the Daily Mail, providing records to the Daily Mail, speaking in great detail about the call that the abuse victim alleged made to them after he smacked her in front of other people, in front of French valets over there in Cannes, France. And no one's looked into this, I guess, other than the Daily Mail. Certainly Jen Psaki, I hope, wasn't aware of it when she let him get away with, I've always been like this, a supporter of women.
Yeah, right. Oh, where is that Daily Mail article? I think we've got it here somewhere. Party of pro-women is fine with the fact that Dougie Doritos beats women. Kamala Harris' husband forcefully slapped ex-girlfriend for flirting. And booze-fueled assault. Laura Loomer apparently found the woman. And I guess this is her. This is in 2012. So here's the timeline of Doug Emhoff. 2009, he impregnated his child's nanny. 2012, he physically assaults his girlfriend. 2023, lectures us on toxic masculinity. 2024, hailed for redefining masculinity. Here is Trump advisor. Now, if you follow us on X, you would have seen this already. 7 hours ago, I posted this. Trump advisor Alina Habba torches Kamala Harris' husband, Doug Emhoff, over shocking abuse allegations. This is with Benny Johnson.
He's her lead surrogate currently. He is one of her lead surrogates. If you name surrogates for presidential campaigns, he is one of them. Listen, everybody has a past, and when you take this risk of going into a presidential election, you better damn well take a look at what you're hiding in the closet, what you have in your treasure trove, because they will find it. And it's sad to me that this is the way the world works, that people aren't more honest with themselves and saying, maybe I'm not the best candidate because my husband has a past. If this is true, of being abusive, I have no patience for anybody like that. And I'm most certainly not going to have patience for people like that running our country. If the women want to talk in this country about policy and about the men that are going to be in charge and making decisions for our bodies and for us, it most certainly is not going to be somebody who's put his hand on a woman. And there are very few things that are an Achilles heel for me. But if somebody puts their hand on a woman and they're supposed to sit in the Oval Office and help go to bed and give the president of the United States advice, Well, that's very much a reason not to vote for her, because if that is who she selected as her husband, if that is who she thought was the best suited person for her, and that's somebody who's going to be giving her advice, I don't want that anywhere near me, my decisions, my kids, my family. And there's just I have no tolerance for abuse. When I say none, I mean zero. Zero tolerance for abuse. And you could get me to sound off for an hour on that there's a special place in hell for men that put hands on women. Don't forget who Joe Biden married. People don't talk about it enough. But who is Jill Biden? Jill Biden was married to the brother or something, or the nanny, and the same thing happened. There was affairs and all kind, and then they died and he married her. That story is so convoluted, you have to look it up. But when I heard that, I'm like, these are the quality of people. This is who they are in their private life. That's who they are. They're hitting people, abusing them, knocking up the nanny, and then hitting people and that to me is just beyond any level of comprehension that these people could actually be serving. And you know what? I'll say on that, because I know what the negative commentary will say on Twitter. I know President Trump. I've spent years with President Trump. President Trump has been accused of so many horrible things, but these are not accusations. These are things that now we're saying have come out and are true. Well, that's a problem. And it tells you a lot about the character, what goes on in somebody's home. Look at their children. I always say that tells you a lot about who people are. And I think it speaks volumes, frankly. It's called having a compass, a moral compass, and that is lacking. When they flip-flop on their policies, it tells you there's no true moral compass. They're just trying to win you over. Like I said, paid actors. That's literally paid actors. So that's what I think. And look, the decision's so clear. Trump 2024, baby.
Amen. Harmeet Dillon says she's been a trained advocate and lawyer for victims of domestic violence for over 3 decades. That he hit one woman almost certainly means he hit others. While a partner at a major law firm, what does this say about all the enablers around him? Here is the Daily Mail article. Second gentleman allegedly struck a woman in the face so hard she spun around while waiting in a valet lane at night after a May 2012 film festival. One of her friends told the Daily Mail the woman called him immediately after the incident, sobbing in her cab, and described the alleged assault. Daily Mail is not naming the woman, who is a successful New York attorney, but will refer to her as Jane. Second friend said Jane, who'd been dating Emhoff for 3 months, told her about the alleged violence at the time. A third friend told Daily Mail that Jane first told her in 2014 she had dated Emhoff and recounted the full story of his alleged abuse in 2018, when then Senator Harris was in the news after grilling Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in a Senate hearing over sexual assault allegations. The friends, who all asked not to be named for fear of retaliation by Emhoff, shared with the Daily Mail pictures of him and Jane together from 2012 and other documents and communication corroborating elements of the story. And here is the picture with Jane blurred out. Look at his face. He looks like a real jerk there. You could just see it on his face. He looks like he's an abuser. The shocking claims follow revelations by the Daily Mail. Emhoff cheated on his first wife and mother of his 2 kids around 2008, allegedly impregnating his daughter's nanny, who also worked as her grade school teacher. Emhoff admitted the affair with the nanny and teacher after Daily Mail published the story last month. All 3 of Jane's friends said she also told them about disturbing alleged incident during her relationship with the second gentleman, in which Emhoff nonchalantly admitted to impregnating Naylor. Nonchalantly. Emhoff told Jane the nanny accused him of causing her to have a miscarriage. According to friends, Emhoff did not say how he was allegedly responsible for the miscarriage, and he told Jane the nanny's claims were false. Second gentleman allegedly confessed to Jane he paid Naylor a settlement of around $80,000 and had the nanny sign a non-disclosure agreement. Emhoff was previously dubbed by Democrats as the wife guy and a mensch, a Yiddish term for an honorable, kind man. He's also spoken out in media interviews about being an ally to women against toxic masculinity. Oh, boy. So the Emhoff scandal isn't just about one man's alleged misdeeds. It's about the blatant hypocrisy of the left. While they lecture us about toxic masculinity, their own poster boy for progressive manhood is accused of violence against women. The media's deafening silence on the issue speaks volumes, and it's clear the rules are different for those in the Biden-Harris inner circle. But the American people deserve to know the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be for the establishment. And now we want to hear from you. Do you think the media's handling of the Emhoff allegation reveals a double standard in how they treat Democrats versus Republicans? Is this going to impact Kamala's run? Is this going to end it all? Comment below.